Hi, friends. Welcome to another Pick a Card Tarot reading. I am JP, and this is Junodrome Tarot. Today, we are going to be doing another one of the fan favorites, the Yes or No Tarot video. So, I believe that in my schedule, what I'm going to try to do now is do it every third video, do a yes or no. If you want more of those, let me know. If you want an even more yes or no's, I can continue to do those. I just, I like to switch it up and I don't want to flood the channel with just yes or no videos, but they are by far everyone's favorite. So it's clearly, I want to keep giving them to people. Eventually, as of right now, I'm on a weekly schedule. I just do a video a week, but it's possible I could eventually try to work in maybe 2 videos a week, and I can do one yes or no video and one other video a week. I can't guarantee that that's something I can do, but if I can, I think that would be great because then I can just do every other yes or no. I can continue to provide those as well as continue to provide other messages, important messages for people as well that come outside of that. But, I like providing all and both and whatever people need. So, anyway, we have 5 different piles for you to choose from. Pile number 1 with the moon, pile number 2 with the beets, pile number 3 with this sparrow, maybe some kind of bird, little bird, maybe a chickadee, actually. I'm not entirely sure. Pile number 4 with the bleeding hearts, and pile number 5 with the roses. So take a look at these piles. Choose from them now, and if you go down to the description section of this video, you will find a link to your reading. So click on that link, and I'll meet you there. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. Thanks so much to all of the new and recent subscribers, and if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help out the growth, and as we continue to grow, I'll be able to provide more and more content with all of you. So anyway, friends, I will see you soon in your reading. Hi there, pile number 1. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be the reading on what is the answer to your yes or no question. So hopefully you've come here with a question in mind, and we have 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We have the pendulum, the coin, and the die. So we'll get either a triple yes, triple no, or a leaning yes, leaning no. It gives us a pretty good mix of things and possibilities, so we can just kind of figure that out. So first up, we've got the pendulum to do, and I've never done the pendulum from this angle before, so I'm going to lean in here. You should be able to be seeing this right now. So we just have to triangulate the pendulum first just to make sure that it's working here. So in order to do that, we just ask it some questions we already know the answers to. So am I sitting in front of a half-finished painting? Yes, I am. I need to finish. It's going to be a fun one. Okay. Am I currently wearing shoes? No, I am not. I am in socks. Okay. Am I in my apartment right now? Yes, I am, and I love it. It's a good apartment. I'm pretty happy with where I live right now. Okay, final question. What's the answer to yes or what's the answer to pile number 1's question? Yeah, it's feeling a solid yes, pile number 1. We're getting a yes from the pendulum. So the pendulum is saying yes. All right, let's take a look at the others. What does the die say? Yes or no, even or odd? We've got an even with the 6 here, so 2 yeses so far. Final with the coin, even yes, odd no. And you got a heads, which is yes. Oh, sorry, heads or tails. The answer to your question is a triple yes, enthusiastic yes even. So I'm going to back up here, and let's dive into your reading. That's really exciting. So hopefully you wanted some kind of affirmative confirmation here because you got a triple yes. Yeah, I know sometimes we can ask yes or no questions and we want to know, but this is definitely a very definitive yes answer here. So let's take a look here. You chose the moon, by the way, and on the back there's a message here. It says, "Trust in dreams, for in them is hidden the gate to eternity," which is a Cahill Gilbran quote there. So really pretty cards anyway. This is the How to Be a Wildflower deck by Katie Daisy. I really love this deck for symbols. They have a lot of fun symbols and imagery. So that's an interesting card, to think about. When we think about the moon, that can talk about like month-long cycles. It can talk about, waxing and waning. So maybe this is something you're asking about, something that you've had a long time kind of ruminating on or occurring. So we've got two different tarot cards, and then we have one oracle card that we're going to pull from. But we're going to look at these two first from the Herbal Tarot. And we have the King of Swords, and we have the Three of Cups. Okay, so interesting. I really get this sense of if you're asking about some kind of relationship question, and this doesn't have to just be a question about, does he or she like me? Is this a dating question? Any of that. It can also be about friends or family. There's this really big level of celebration coming into this reading, and with it being that triple yes answer, it's a very celebratory triple yes as well, with this Three of Cups. And so it's like there's this huge celebrational energy coming in. So, I get the sense of maybe some people are asking about, will this thing work out? Will I achieve this result? Or, am I, going along this path in the right way, or any of those kinds of questions. If you're wondering what the outcome is going to be, there's just this sense of celebration. So you have celebration coming to you. You have things to celebrate in your own life, in this moment. And so you're really being asked to maybe sort of have some gratitude for the things that you do have, and the things that are going right in your life, because I do feel like there's a lot of that going on. And with the King of Swords here, that's talking about the culmination of the kings are the culmination cards, and the swords are all about the mind, the mental body, your imagination, how you think about things, the way that you consider certain situations. And so, with that card coming in, there's this feeling of that you have this very clear-headed perspective too, and that it's like, you have a lot to celebrate now because you've taken the road where you haven't allowed emotions to take control of your life to the point of not being able to have anything done right. You're able to the King of Swords is able to have their emotions, be very emotional, but then not let that take control of their actions, and they move forward from a place of clear and level-headedness. And so, with these two cards together, I feel like you're in a position to celebrate because you've taken the maybe the I'm getting like the hard road, right? You've taken maybe the steps that have been challenging and difficult, but you've done it in a way where you've allowed yourself to be slow and to be calm and to be collected, and that has allowed for the things that you are trying to make happen. You've taken your time, you've had patience, you've had perseverance, and because of that, you have this celebratory mood coming in. So let's take a look at the other tarot cards here. We've got 4 cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. We've got the Ace of Swords. Wow, so you've got the beginning and the end of the sword suit. That's pretty cool. You've got the Ten of Pentacles. And I don't read reversals just because I feel like they get in the way of general readings. We've got the Magician, and we've got the Eight of Wands. Wow, which is such a beautiful card in this particular deck in general. Yeah, this is really, really, really powerful energy, pile number 1. So, with you having the Ten of Pentacles is ultimate abundance, and material abundance, your physical world shaping in a way where you don't have to worry about your needs being met. All of your needs are met and more. You have the Magician, which is all about taking any situation and shaping it to create something out of nothing, essentially. Creating into the world from, having an imagined idea and being able to create that in the physical world. You have the Ace of Swords, which talks about a new beginning in the mind, having a new perspective, being able to look at life in a brand new way. And you have the Eight of Wands, which is all about this. In this particular deck, especially because it's got the lightning bolt in it, it can talk about swift moving situations, but for this deck in particular, I take it as an aha moment, because you see this lightning bolt kind of striking, and now you have this, like, you can see the shadows of the stick all around it. So it's like you have this striking aha epiphany coming in, and so it's like I feel like whatever you've been. I feel like you've been trying to work on something for a long time. I felt that energy. It's like a long, hard battle, maybe, with that King of Swords too. And this is like you're in the culmination of something now. You've put in an incredible amount of work into something. You've put in time, you've put in energy, you've put in so much, and you're finally at the point where you're ready to see this culmination, right? When I was looking at the moon, I was feeling that connection of like, this is like a months long thing that you're asking about. And so, I feel like you're at the end of the road of this thing, and it's also a new beginning with that Ace of Swords. It's like you're at that kind of transitional phase that happens sometimes when you're ending one thing and you're beginning something new. And so it's like you're finally at this culmination, and I think you're going to have a lot of reasons to celebrate, and maybe even having friends and family around you as well to celebrate, your achievements. You're achieving something. There's this like super culmination energy going on. Your final card comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it's a new day. Oh, wow. Oh, I love it when these cards come in and they're just like so on point with each other. But look at that, brand new day, right? So there really is this new energy coming in for you, pile number one. I feel like the answer to your question is yes, triple yes, absolutely, definitely. So whatever it is you're asking about, and I feel like it's a yes with such enthusiasm to celebrate, and it's marking the culmination of one thing and the beginning of something new. So having that beginner's mindset almost as well, where you're open to anything going in any way, right? You have open possibility ahead of you. You have open horizons. You're able to be open to absolutely anything that could come in for you, and I feel like you're being encouraged to really take into account that idea, right? That anything is possible for you. That any you have any ability to create whatever, and to be truly open to that, because I feel like maybe you've been through some challenging situations, right? You've been through some difficulty in the past, but with this magician here, it's just like further proof that not only can you handle those situations, but you can make anything into anything, right? You can make any situation, you can bring that into whatever it needs to be. So anything that life throws at you, any challenges, any difficult situations, you have the ability to take those situations and transform them into something that's going to be beneficial for you. Like, not only is it something that's not a challenge anymore, but you can take those challenging, difficult situations and moments and you can make them into anything for yourself. You can create any um, open situation. You can take any kind of challenging, difficult thing that isn't working out, anything that anyone else might look at and say, "Oh, you're screwed. You can't do anything," right? You have the ability to kind of like look at it from this out of the box perspective and really kind of take yourself into a new level with it. You could say, well, actually, I can see this from this other point of view, and because of that, I know that I can walk in this direction, and that means that there's this whole other thing open that nobody would have even seen, but I'm able to see that, right? You have that ability, and I think that has led you really, really far in overcoming these really difficult, challenging situations. So you're in the moment now where you have this celebration coming in. And so really do celebrate, pile number one. Really take into account that you have the ability to make anything happen. And so you don't have to be so worried, right? With this ultimate abundance, you have your needs met, right? So think about life like, if you always have what you need, then you don't have to be afraid anymore, right? So what would you do if you weren't afraid of having, having your needs met? What would that open up for you? Pile number one. Like, what would that free in your life if you didn't have to worry about your needs? And so the universe is kind of encouraging you to take that perspective. Like imagine that all of your needs are met, right? And then they will be, and obviously it's something that you have to do the work to make that happen. But at the same time, you're this magician, right? You can make anything happen. So, having this confidence in yourself to know that you've got the basics down. You've got the basics down. You've got, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You've got those covered, right? You've got your needs met. And you're going to always have those because you know how to deal with those situations, right? And obviously we can't account for everything, but I feel like you're an incredibly resourceful person. And so you're being encouraged with this reading to really, look at life from this new day perspective that, okay, well, what would I do if I didn't have to worry about the basics? What would I then go out and do? And you have the opportunity now to really do that, right? Because you've figured out how to do the basic level stuff. And so now, life is almost challenging you to level up, right? You have the opportunity to level up and to move into a place where you can make whatever happen. So ask yourself, well, what do I want in life? What do I want to make happen? And you can do that now. You have that full ability to really dive in and do that. So anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. That was a really fun reading. I was channeling hardcore in that, and that's great. I love it when that happens, where it's just like, I'm going to let my brain go, and I'm just going to speak. It's really fun. So anyway, pile number one, I'm going to leave you there. Let me know in the comments what you think of this either way. I really do love hearing from everybody. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really, really helps out. Like I said in the intro, I'm going to be doing yes or no's every third video now. And then moving forward from there, eventually I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week. And then I could do yes or no's once and then something else once every week. But I'm not quite there yet. Right now, we're just going to do every third for yes or no. But anyway, let me know what you think. Subscribe. And if you want a private reading with me, I do have them available. I love, love, love giving private readings. You can find information on my website at www.junodrome.com. I just gave the website a makeover, so if you haven't been on in a while, check it out. Let me know what you think. It's a little bit more streamlined. If there's anything missing that you want on there, just let me know too. There's a chat function. You can chat with me anytime you want there. Anyway, pile number one. I'll catch you later. Thanks for tuning in. See ya. Hi there, pile number two. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be the reading for what is the answer to your yes or no question. We have 3 different methods from generating a yes or a no. We have the die for an even or odd. We have the coin for a heads or tails, and we've got the pendulum. So we're going to either get a triple yes, triple no, or a maybe leaning in either direction. You chose the pile with these beats here. We'll get into the cards after we do the 3 different methods. We're going to start with the pendulum to triangulate it. I'm just going to lean myself into the reading here a little bit more. So first we just need to triangulate this pendulum just to make sure that it's working and we're getting answers. So, first question, did my phone just buzz next to me? Yes, it did. And I don't know what it was, but it doesn't really matter. Is there a completed painting sitting in front of me right now? No, it's not done yet. I still have to finish, but that's okay. Am I surrounded by my wonderful plant friends? Yeah, I am. They're great. I really like my plants. Okay, and finally, what's the answer to pile number 2's question? Okay, pile number 2, it moved into a no, and it feels definitive now. So the pendulum is saying no. But let's take a look at what the other things say. So we'll do the die first, even or odd. Even is yes, odd is no. And we have a 4, so that's even. So we've got 1 yes, 1 no. So this is definitely a maybe. Let's see what direction the maybe is leaning. and the coin is on tails. So it is a maybe leaning no. So we don't really have a definitive answer, but it's leaning towards no. So whatever it is that you're asking about, at the moment, the way things are moving, the likely outcome is no. But that doesn't mean that that's the true answer. It just means that that's kind of where things are feeling right now. But there's a lot of opportunity to change that if that's what you want, or there's just something not quite definitive about the energy in the reading and the understanding. So let's take a look at the cards to kind of figure that out a little bit more. Like I said, you have the beets here, which can talk about, vegetables. I just feel like farming is a big image in this, growing things that it's this card is almost, I feel like it's almost encouraging you um, to have patience when you're trying to grow something in a garden. It takes a lot of time for that to happen. So maybe there's a little bit of a timing issue going on here where it's like you're asking about something that maybe in the short term the answer is no, but if you give it time and have patience and try to grow something, maybe you could turn that into a yes with time, maybe that kind of situation. The quote on the back says, "And the secret garden bloomed and bloomed, and every morning revealed new miracles," which is a quote from The Secret Garden, I'm assuming. Um, Beautiful. So yeah, I do feel like there's that kind of there's that opportunity in this reading, and that's where the maybe's coming in, that there's an opportunity to grow this situation into anything that you want. But it might take time, and it might take energy, and it might take understanding that not everything happens at once and not everything can happen immediately. But if you have patience and persistence, you can make anything that you want to have happen. If it's one of those kinds of questions, and even if it's a question like, should I move to this place, or does this person like me, or, any of those kinds of questions, which I know it could be anything, these questions could be, they're super general, but something about this situation is talking about that timing issue of allowing a certain sense of patience in order to make something happen easier. So we've got an oracle card here from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, but I'm going to do your tarot cards first. And we got a bunch of cards from both decks. So why don't we do these cards from the Wild Unknown first? We've got oh yeah, look at that. The Eight of Swords. We've got the Ace of Wands, and we've got the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so yeah, so there's this huge, huge energy of waiting and of allowing time in order to make something happen. And I've just been talking about that, but that's what this reading is really coming into. Sorry, I just needed some tea. But let's take a look at this. So, with this Eight of Swords here, that can be the traditional meaning of this card is like feeling stuck, feeling like you're not able to move forward. But in this particular deck, you see it's a chrysalis here. So there's this talking about transformation here, right? For a caterpillar to become a butterfly, it has to go through this chrysalis stage first, and you can't immediately turn a caterpillar into a butterfly. And I feel like that's kind of what you're being encouraged to remember here, is that even if you're not where you want to be and you feel stuck here, you have the ability to transform into this beautiful, amazing butterfly. But it might take time, and it might take stepping back and healing and allowing yourself this opportunity to grow. That takes a little bit of stepping back from a situation as well, right? The butterfly transformation happens alone in a certain sense, because the caterpillar has to go off on their own into this cocoon in order to transform. And so maybe you need to step away from people for a moment, or step away from certain situations, and allow yourself this internal growth and transformation that really wants to come into your life. With this Wheel of Fortune card, there is this fortune coming in, but I'm getting the sense a little bit. I don't really like to interpret this card this way, but I've been feeling it recently, and I do feel like it's important. Sometimes the Wheel of Fortune can talk about going around and around in cycles, and it can talk about breaking those cycles too. And I feel like maybe you feel stuck because it's possible you've had this sort of reoccurring pattern happen in your life, but I do feel that there's this opportunity to finally get out of it. But maybe that's where the maybe's coming in, right? It's like, you can fall back into the no pattern if you like. That's the easier thing to do in this situation, right? Because like I said, it's like leaning in that direction. So it's like the the lowest common denominator outcome, the outcome where if you don't really try to do anything and you just kind of allow things to continue as they are, I feel like there's this repetitive nature of a pattern that's making you feel stuck. But with the Ace of Wands coming into this reading as well, and the tradition or the meaning of the Wheel of Fortune that I usually go with, which I will also give you, which is this fortunate event coming in potentially, there's this potential for you to turn any kind of difficult situation around, especially with that Ace of Wands there's an opportunity for a new beginning, and it's a new beginning that's more aligned with your own passions and your own drives and your own inspirations, right? This inspirational new beginning moment. And I feel like that's what you're desiring in this situation, whatever it is that you're asking about, right? This is a general reading, so it can be about literally anything. But there is this new beginning opportunity that's present for you. It's just a matter of you opening yourself up to realizing that maybe you're at the beginning stages, because the Ace of Wands is the beginning card. And so it's like when you're at the beginning, sometimes we have this desire for everything to happen at once, right? Like we want to be at the final stage. We want to be at the last scene where they're cheering us on and right before the end credits, you know what I mean, where you're celebrating and you've already achieved everything. But like you can't just magically go to that moment, right? You have to live first. And in fact, a lot of times, I think that stories in general, when we listen to stories and storytelling, especially in things like movies and books, and they do us a bit of a disservice because a story has to condense everything into one narrative, into a single book, right? Or storyline that's easy to consume in a short period of time. Um, but in reality, we live a lifetime, and so because of that, things take time. Things move weird. Lives move in strange ways. Sometimes we're at the beginning of one journey, and that goes on for a while, and then something else happens, and we leave one storyline behind and move into something else. And sometimes that movement doesn't have a satisfying ending, and sometimes that transformation doesn't make sense, and sometimes you have to completely leave one paradigm and enter into something else. And sometimes that's an unsatisfying thing when we're expecting this easy narrative to be our lives. But I don't know if real life works that way all the time, right? I think that things are a little bit more complex than that. I think that reality happens in strange ways sometimes, and so I feel like there's a little bit of a need for you to allow for the unexpected to be okay, right? An allowance for you to not need the ending outcome immediately. The need to build a certain sense of patience. The need to have that beginner's mindset where you um, you know that there's a lot ahead of you, and that's okay. Make it undaunting in the sense that it's okay to have to do a lot of things, and so you don't when you release the need to be at the end, it's not like you're trying to rush through everything in order to get there, or that you're procrastinating everything until the last minute because you can't. It's like this is life, and there is no if you put it off, you're just putting off life, right? um, so I do feel like there's this sense in this reading of needing to release the need to have everything happen in this moment. So let's take a look at the other cards. There's a bunch more tarot cards, so we've got more information. We've got 4 cards from the Herbal Tarot. We've got the Magician. Oh, cool! The Magician came out in pile number 1 too. That's awesome. 2 of Swords. Yeah, I feel that. 8 of Swords. Okay, so that's twice here. Wow, that's cool. And the Chariot. So yeah, whenever a card comes into a reading twice, that is it's repeated in both decks. That's the most important message for you in this reading, and that's what this reading is really about. And so it's all about this idea that you're feeling stuck. I do feel that sense, and this was a maybe leaning no, but it is a maybe. So in a sense too, sometimes we can feel stuck when we don't know the outcome for something, right? Where we want to know what's going to happen, but we just don't know. And this is kind of bringing that uncertainty into this reading, that there is an uncertain outcome here. There is no definitive answer for you. And that's important, right? Because you're at the Two of Swords situation here, which can talk about being at a crossroads, having to decide to go right or to go left in a certain situation. And I think maybe you are really deliberating over that, and that's what this question is about. That yes or no both feel like adequate options. Maybe you're asking about choosing between two different things, and this is kind of talking about how sometimes you can feel really stuck being in that choice, but it ultimately it's going to be a choice where you need to make it yourself. I do feel that with this magician here, that you have the power to make the right choice, right? That there's a certain level of needing to feel confident in yourself here, that you have all ability to create anything for yourself. So have the confidence that if you take choice A instead of choice B, that's okay, that you'll figure things out, that even if choice A isn't the best possible thing for you, you can still figure it out and make the choices that come after that into something that's amazing. So even if you do take the quote unquote wrong choice, sometimes there are no wrong choices in life. But even if you were to make the quote unquote wrong choice, that doesn't mean that that's it and that's done. You might as well give up on life because you went the wrong way once, right? Like, no way. And so like sometimes there's this great piece of advice that I think comes from Alexa. Is the Amazon's Alexa I have, and it's sort of has this online tarot thing, so you can ask it to do a tarot reading for you. And that I do that sometimes, but one of its definitions of the Eight of Swords, which is funny, this is coming in, is sort of like it says that sometimes not making any choice sometimes making any choice is better than not making any choice at all and being stuck, right? That it's better to make the wrong choice but to continue moving forward than it is to not make any choice and just be in this place of being stuck. And I feel that for you, that's a big piece of advice for you, especially with the Chariot here, which can talk about movement. There is this feeling of, and especially with this Tao symbol here, which is the yin and yang, the balance between male and female, positive and negative, yes and no. We have that more of that non-dualistic sense coming in here. So it's almost like the answer is yes and no, right? There is no right answer in this reading, or they're both right. That it doesn't matter almost. I mean, it matters. Obviously, you got to make a choice here, but you can move forward in either direction and feel confident that you'll be able to pull through in any direction, and that even just starting to make these choices. Maybe you've been stuck for a while in a certain situation. Maybe you just you haven't been able to make any choices, and just this paralysis of not knowing how to choose anything in life is keeping you super bound. I've been there, so I know what that feels like. In order to really get out of that, you just have to start making choices, and you have to stop worrying about whether or not something terrible is going to happen because of it, and just start making choices and start seeing. If the more faith that you start having in yourself about that kind of thing, the more you start to realize, like, oh well, even if something, even if I do something that's going to lead to some slight discomfort, I know that I have enough confidence in myself to know that I can get through any situation. So I know that even if a slight inconvenience occurs in my life, I can just move in another direction, right? That it's like, you're in what are those called? Those open RPGs or whatever, right? Like you're in the video game where you can move in any direction and do anything. You're not in the video game where you have to take this linear choice, right? That you could go in any direction and explore any avenue. And so, you make one choice to move in one path and that isn't really something you like. That doesn't mean that you failed. It just means you explored something and now it's not something that's for you. So you can go explore something else, and now you have the knowledge and the confidence in yourself to know that, hey, that thing that I was thinking maybe I wanted to do, I don't actually want that. And you know what? That's okay, because now I know if I had never explored that avenue, I would always be wondering whether or not that was something that would have been good for me. And maybe I would continue to start like tell myself that, oh, that thing, that was going to be the thing. That was going to be the thing that was going to be so good. And I never did that thing. And then you have that hanging over you. When in reality, you try that thing out and you're like, oh, actually, I don't really like this thing very much. Well, then you don't have that, taking control of you for the rest of your life. You actually went and you tried it and you did it, and you know what, maybe that wasn't for you, and that's okay, because now you can go try something else. And if you follow life that way, it's this big open exploration, and eventually you're going to find the thing that you really like. You're going to go down the path you really enjoy. You're going to move to the city you really like. You're going to move to the place you really wanted to be. And you're going to meet the people who are right for you. You're going to date the people that were really good for you, whatever it is. So it's like, if you're asking about any of that kind of stuff, like, even if this isn't the right person, or this isn't the right time, or that isn't the right thing, or that isn't the right city, or whatever you're asking about, there's still open opportunity. Even if you were to choose that thing and not like it, um, you can always choose something else later. So be open to the possibilities of anything, and don't feel like you have to pigeonhole yourself in any one direction in order to find the right thing for yourself. So the final card comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is the Perception card. And look at that. It's another yin and yang symbol. So this is totally talking. That's so funny. I love it. I love it when these readings are just like so aligned and so synchronistic. It just means everything's going right. So take that for you too. Everything's going right here. You got this. But with that, you're really being encouraged to take that non-dualistic perspective. What does that mean? It means that sometimes there is no good or bad. Sometimes there is no right or wrong choice. Sometimes there is no, this is what I have to do, and that everything else is terrible. Sometimes there's open possibility and open opportunity. And even, like I was saying, even choosing something that will be challenging and not great for you does not mean that's a terrible thing. Sometimes we need to do that. Sometimes we need to go down a road that is really crappy and not so great and not helping us, in order to see that that's the case, in order to understand that, you know, understand our own resilience, understand what we really want in life, understand what things are good for us and what things aren't. Sometimes you need to learn that discernment, and that perception card here, is really talking about that. Having the open mind and open perspective to know that any choice that you make in life, you have the ability to move through that. And that even if you make a quote unquote wrong choice, there are no right or wrong choices. There's just choices. And some choices we make that we're happy about, and some choices we make that we aren't necessarily happy about. But that doesn't mean that that were bad, or that it was even wrong. It doesn't even mean that it was a wrong choice. It just means it was a choice that had an outcome that we didn't quite enjoy as much as maybe a different outcome. But we now have learned that situation was what it was. We've learned how to see from a new perspective, and we have that knowledge forever. So you have that knowledge and that wisdom that comes from that. So that perception card too can talk about looking at situations that have happened to you, looking at difficult situations that have occurred in your life with that perspective, that, hey, this thing has taught me something. What is the lesson that's coming from this situation? Not that I'm just in this terrible thing, but what is this terrible thing telling me? What has this taught me? What can I gain from this? And the more that you start to see life from that perspective, the less afraid of making a wrong choice you'll be in, because you'll know that anything that's coming in for you has a silver lining with a lesson for it, if you look at it that way. That there's deeper meaning in all things that happen in life if you choose to see it from that perspective. And that's funny. Like, I just had a dream the other day that I was talking to somebody who was telling me about this kind of thing. So probably with a guide or something. But what they were saying was, Start to look at life where as if everything that's happening in your life has that meaning. What is this thing telling me? What has this thing shown me? What is this situation that's occurring in my life right now? What is the deeper meaning here? And obviously, you don't have to look at everything that way, but maybe all things in life can have that meaning if we choose to see it from that perspective. That's kind of the dream message I was getting. So I don't know how practical that is, but it doesn't have to be, right? uh, it's just this open perspective that all things occurring in your life have the ability to transfer some kind of lesson, some kind of higher knowledge, some kind of meaning that can help you in your life, that help you move forward in a way that allows for this rich complexity of life. So yeah, anyway, pile number 2, I'm going to leave you there. Let me know in the comments what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody. This was a really great reading. These readings have been really powerful today so far, so I'm excited to continue these and post this video. If you would like a private reading with me, I would love to give you one. I have them available on the website. You can find that at www.junodrome.com. I recently revamped the website, so if you haven't been on in a while, check it out. Let me know what you think about it. I tried to streamline it and make it a little bit more basic and a little bit more visually pleasing. If you enjoy it, let me know. Yeah, I think that's about it. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new. It really does help me out. I love that we have a bunch of new subscribers here, and I'm excited to have you with me. I'm going to keep bringing you this awesome content once a week, and maybe more in the future. So hang on. Anyway, pile number 2, I will catch you later. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope you have a wonderful day. See ya. Hi there, pile number 3. Welcome to your reading. This is going to be your reading for what is the answer to your yes or no question. So you chose the pile with this cute little bird there. It's either a chickadee or some kind of sparrow, or if you know birds, let me know in the comments. I'm not the best at my bird species. But we have 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We've got the pendulum, the die, and the coin. So we're either going to get a triple yes, a triple no, or a maybe leaning in either direction. So the first thing that we're going to do is use the pendulum here, and I'm going to move in closer because it just makes it easier. So we just have to ask it some questions I already know the answer to just to make sure that it's working. So am I sitting with my plants right now? I am, and they are so happy. It's great. And I'm happy too. So let's see what else. Is there a completed painting sitting in front of me? No, there's not. It finally moved to no. It took a second, though. But no, I still need to finish it. Am I wearing shoes right now? Nope, I'm in socks. And am I sitting inside my apartment? Yes, I am, but it did take a while to move there. So that's interesting. There's some hesitation in this pendulum right now. I am feeling a little bit of hesitation. So, what is the answer to pile number 3's question? Yeah, it wants to stay on yes, but I am feeling some hesitation. So let's take a look at the other 2 just to get a better answer. Yes from the pendulum. We got a 5 from the die, so that's a no. So there is definitely some maybe energy going on here, and we'll see which direction it's leaning, but I almost feel like this is one of those 50-50 mediums, where it really is, we don't actually know. But let's take a look at the coin. The coin is on tails, so it's a maybe leaning no, but I feel like it's more just a straight up maybe. So we'll take a look at the cards to get a better understanding. But we've got this little bird here. Let's read the quote on the back. The art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. So, yeah, that's a good quote. But that kind of can talk about how like happiness is something that it's a state of being that we can bring into our lives right here. It's not a place that we have to go, right? It's not like it's a destination outside of ourselves. It's something that can happen in any moment. And I feel a little bit of that being an important answer for you right now. That maybe you're looking for answers and there are none, right? And this is kind of seeing almost like it's like you have to create your own outcome for the situation almost, in order to be happy you have to cultivate happiness in this moment in order to get your yes or no. You have to make things happen. You have to bring that into existence. Let's take a look at the cards and kind of see what the cards are saying here. We'll go with these first. Yeah, so we've got two from the Herbal Tarot. We've got the Five of Wands. Yeah, conflict and feeling stuck. And then we've got the High Priestess. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I know what's going on. Okay, so sometimes this reading comes up relatively often in these. Sometimes we'll get a reading where the answer is sort of like well, you know how on a magic 8 ball you can get the answer like ask again later. This is almost like that, but it's not an ask again later. It's sort of like the universe isn't going to give you a definitive answer right now because that answer lies inside of you. And sometimes, as a person who really likes tarot readings and who watches them pretty religiously on YouTube, um, sometimes we can constantly be looking for this answer through readings, through other things, through asking people's opinions, for getting answers from other people. And sometimes, though, that's not where that answer is going to come from. Sometimes that answer has to come from within us, not from without. And this is kind of one of those situations where you're being asked to not look outside of yourself for the answer. So there's this kind of conflict energy here, which is, it's normally like five people who are all fighting each other, and no one person is getting the better hand over any of them. So they're all equally stuck in this conflicted situation. Sometimes that can talk about other people. Sometimes that can talk about inside of ourselves as well. This feeling conflicted within, not knowing how to move forward, feeling very stuck in a situation. And with this High Priestess card here, she's this sort of the most psychic card in the entire tarot deck. And so she has this ability um, to understand things on a deep intuitive level. She communicates with the universe within herself in order to understand things on this grander cosmic scale. And so it's almost like in order for you to come to a definitive answer in whatever it is you're asking about, it's so important for you to go within and really do ask yourself, okay, well, what do I need? What do I want? Who am I? And maybe this is one of those asking your heart for the answer as well. Sometimes if we're really asking about something, and we don't really know, the mind can get really stuck, right, with that Five of Wands energy. Almost, I'm feeling that, when we get really caught up in the mind, we can feel really conflicted, and any sort of answer can feel right because we're just feeling so stuck and we don't understand how to move forward. But if you can slow down your breath and kind of try to move your focus back into your heart can have answers that are more aligned with your intuition, more aligned with what it is you really want on a bigger level. And so we can answer that by doing a few deep breaths. If you want to do this with me, I'm going to have you do a little exercise with me super quick. If you put your hand over your heart right now, and we're going to breathe in and out deeply. So breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. So now as you continue to deep breathe, and keep your hand on your heart, and I want you to ask yourself the same question that you were asking this reading. But now we're going to be really slowed down, and you're asking your heart. So ask your heart, what is the answer to this question? And the soft answer that starts to come into your mind now, that's the answer coming from your own heart. That's how you feel. That's where it is. It's right there. So we're going to look at some more cards now, but doing that exercise can be really, really helpful when you feel like you are going 3,000 miles an hour. Your mind and your brain is just move, 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 move. I need an answer. Blah, 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 blah. Oh my God, what if this happens? Oh my God, what if that happens? Oh my God, what if this? What if that? What if this? What if that? That can be really, really paralyzing. And I feel that sense of paralysis here for you right now. And so it's like just slowing down. It's not dire. It's not dire. Nothing in life is that dire. Unless, you're running away from a lion or something, which happens. Sometimes there's those situations, but most of the time in modern life, in our modern context, we're not in that state. So it's like our brains are pushing us there. We take these deeply complex, non-physical situations, and our brains treat them like it's a physical threat that we've evolved to deal with on like the savannah or something. And so we have to use our mind, we have to use our senses to calm ourselves down. Deep breathing is a very great instantaneous way to come back into a sense of calm. And by doing that, by coming back into this calm place, then you have the ability to come to a more clear-headed understanding. And you won't feel like you have to choose a situation out of fear, but you can choose it out of love, from your heart. You can choose the thing that you really want, not the thing that you're, well, oh my God, if this and this and this happens, that's going to be terrible. So I have to go this way because, oh my God, but that's not necessarily the case. That's just what your head is telling you. So we've got 4 more cards from the Wild Unknown here. We've got the Mother of Wands, which is the Queen of Wands in most decks. We've got the Daughter of Cups, or the Page of Cups in most decks. And I don't read reversals just because it's easier in a general reading. We've got the Father of Swords, or the King of Swords in most decks. And we've got the High Priestess again. Oh, fun. Okay, cool. So first off, whenever a card comes up twice in the reading, I always say this, but it's true, and it's funny just how often it happens. It feels like it happens in most readings now, which is kind of amazing. The universe is really kind of chatting with me on that level here, which is great. But it's kind of like it's a cue for the reader to know that this is the most important message of your reading. This is what Spirit really wants you to know, and that's the High Priestess imagery. So it's like not only do you need to go within to find the answers, but you have the answers within. You have this deep intuitive power within you. So it's like you don't need to go outside of yourself for these answers. It's not going to be that hard for you to figure it out. It's going to just take that slowing down. It's because these answers, they come, your intuition speaks quietly and it speaks slowly. And so, that's the biggest way to tell the difference. If you feel like you have trouble distinguishing between your intuition and your mind, it's easy to be feeling that way. I felt that way a lot. But the biggest way to tell the difference is how quickly is this coming to you, and does it make you feel anxiety? If you feel really anxious about this answer that's coming in, it's not your intuition. Like, that's going to be coming from your mind. And so it's sort of just like you have to, like, whenever you start seeing that, when you feel that anxious and you got all this stuff going on, don't be angry at yourself. It's a very natural thing to happen. Everyone goes through this. Literally everyone, even the Dalai Lama, it's like we all deal with the mind. Like it's like we're human beings. We have the mind. It's there. It's important. It's a part of it, of our being. So don't feel like you have to get rid of that thing, because you can't. And there's a horn for confirmation. Like, it's impossible to get rid of that. So you're not bad for having it. You're not weak for having these feelings. No, you're a human, and that's why you're here. You're here to be a human being right now. So be a human being all that you can, and forgive yourself for having those feelings. That's step 1. When you're stuck in that, Don't attack yourself for that, because that just makes it worse. Instead, be like, okay, 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 okay. I see that this is happening. This is just a mindfulness practice, is basically what this is, and what I'm walking you through. So, if you wanted to Google mindfulness, there's many, many guides on how to practice mindfulness. But the long and short of it, the gist of it, is just when you feel yourself going down those rabbit holes, you start to like see your mind, right? You start to watch your thinking, and that's what mindfulness is. Just viewing your thoughts, seeing them, being aware of them. When you start to go down those rabbit holes, you can pull yourself back from that. You can say, okay, okay, here it is. I'm feeling it. This thing is coming again. Like, okay, first step, apologize, or not apologize, but just, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself is a big one. Like, okay, it's okay. It's okay. You went down this. Let's slow down. That's the next one. Slowing down is huge. Doing those deep breathing, coming back into yourself. Coming back into the physical moment is big. There's this practice called 5-4-3-2-1 that a friend of mine taught me that's so helpful. It's just going down your senses. So you do, okay, what are 5 things that I can see right now? And you name those 5 things. What are 4 things that I can hear right now? And you name those 4 things. 3 things that I can smell, I guess? Yeah. 2 things that I can feel, 1 thing that I can taste. And it might be feeling and smelling you might want to mix up. But anyway, you do those 5 senses, and you do it while you're deep breathing. So it's like wall, plant, and you do that for all 5 senses. That brings you back into the present moment. That slows you way down, and you're not in that anxious place anymore. And then you can have that clear-headed perspective and start to look at it again from a more clear-headed perspective and say, okay, well, what is this? And I feel that that's kind of what's going on here. And you have these 3 royal cards, which is kind of neat, and they're all from different suits. So there is a little bit of this balancing energy here, With the King of Swords, it's like, I do feel that mind dominance. I feel like you have a mind dominance, and the Page of Cups is coming in to show that, you have to be more attuned to that emotional perspective. Maybe you're a little bit less attuned to your emotions, and so it's easier for you for them to get the best of you, because you're not focusing on your emotions. You're just focusing on the mind. And so, your emotions can really get the best of you, because maybe you have a little bit less of that emotional what do they call that? Emotional intelligence, which is totally fine. Like, I'm not calling you stupid here at all. It's super easy to not really understand our emotions very easily, and if we don't have the right context to learn that information, it's hard to figure that out. So I do feel like there's a little bit more developing of that emotional sphere that would really help you. But what we can see from the Mother of Wands, which is the Queen of Wands in most decks, she's this deeply inspiring force. So it's like, in order to learn more about your emotional body and your emotional perspective, and to follow the things that make you feel good, it's going to be about following your passions. What are the things that inspire you? And when you use that as your compass to move forward, you're going to be less stuck in this mind space, because you'll be more open to finding the things that make you feel good, because they're the things that make you excited. Yeah, so anyway, that's major the reading here. The final card comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is growth. Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's so great. So growth is really, really great. You look at this card here, and it's got the acorns and it's got the oak leaves, and it talks about how, contained within an acorn is the entire oak tree. That an entire massive, humongous tree is contained within this small little acorn, and the only difference, in order to get to that tree, is time and growth. So you have the ability to grow in any direction, and so it's like, if you feel like you are at a point where you want change in life, you want things to be different, you want to just like, you want to think differently, you don't want to be constantly in this anxious place, you don't want to be feeling this way anymore, you don't want to be stuck in this way or any of that kind of thing. um, you know you have the ability to move out of it, and it might just take time. But if you're willing to do the work or put in the work to change yourself, to grow, to move, if you're willing to do that work, you have the ability to make anything happen. And so it's really up to you to allow yourself. You have to believe that you're able to do it first and foremost, and that's huge. Having that belief, and then having the faith in yourself that that you can do things, and having patience and forgiving yourself for messing up, forgiving yourself for making mistakes, because we're human. You're a human being, and you're going to make mistakes. That's an inevitable part of being alive, and so you might as well, um, you know, forgive yourself for when that happens. Embrace that things are going to be challenging and difficult sometimes, and that's okay. That maybe not everything is going to work out in the right way, and that's okay too. That you really do have the ability to change things and move things in a different direction if you want. It just might take time and effort, but if you're willing to take that time to change, you have the ability to make anything happen. It's just a matter of you putting one foot in front of the other, and making those small steps. Every small step counts. It's true. So anyway, pile number 3, I'm going to leave you there. That was my reading for you. I hope that you liked it. Please let me know in the comments what you think either way. I really do love hearing from everybody. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. It really does help out. We're getting closer to 1,000. That's super exciting. When we get there, there's going to be some fun giveaways and fun stuff. So yeah, stay tuned for that. And then what else? Oh yeah, if you want a private reading with me, I do have them on the website. You can find that at www.junodrome.com. I would love to give you one, so please reach out if you're interested. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope you have a wonderful day, pile number 3, and I will catch you later. See ya. Hi there, pile number 4. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be the reading on what to expect. What is the answer to your yes or no question? So we have 3 different ways for generating a yes or a no. I've got the die, the pendulum, and the coin. So we're going to figure out what the answer is to your question. Doing that, we'll get either a triple yes, a triple no, or a maybe, leaning in either direction. And we'll figure it out from there. So I'm going to lean in close here, and we're going to start with the pendulum. So the first thing that we have to do with the pendulum is ask it some questions we already know the answer to, just to make sure that it's working out. First question, am I sitting in front of a half-finished painting right now? The answer is yes. I need to keep working on it. It's been a few weeks since I've picked up the paint. That's okay. Am I looking out the window now? I am indeed. I am. Am I wearing shoes? No, I am not. I'm in socks. What is the answer to pile number 4's question? Okay, it feels like a no. It's still continuing on the no, and it doesn't feel like it's moving. So the pendulum is saying no, pile number 4, but let's take a look at the die and the coin. So what does the die say? Even or odd? We got a 5, so that is an odd. So we've got 2 no's so far. Let's see what the coin says, and then we'll get our answer. Coins on tails. So triple no. Sometimes people are looking for no's. So if you wanted a no, it is a no. But sometimes people aren't looking for a no. But it is a definitive no. So we'll take a look at what the cards are saying to get a better picture of this. You got the card with the bleeding hearts here. So, that can be a difficult heartbreak kind of a situation. So if you are asking about something like that, there's a potential for that there. But, we'll take a look at the cards and kind of see what's going on with this situation. The quote on the back says, "Love is the poetry of the senses," which is a quote from Henri de Balzac. It's a nice quote. And very beautiful flower, right? They're very beautiful hearts. So we've got this hearts and this poetry and these emotions, very emotional situation, which can be difficult and challenging. Challenging emotions are really, really hard. But one thing that's important to understand about emotions is, it's really important to feel your emotions deeply. So if you are going through some kind of challenging situation, I want you to know that it's okay to feel anything from that, right? It's important to feel whatever you're feeling: grief, loss, pain, difficulty, all of those emotions, though they're challenging. It's an important part of life to have those feelings. And in fact, when we try to push those feelings away, when we try not to feel those things, um, those things don't actually go away. We are just pushing them out of our awareness, and we're pushing ourselves out of our awareness in a lot of ways. And so that can leave you feeling numb, or it can leave you feeling lost, losing your sense of self, losing your sense of presence. And that can be a tough place to be too. And sometimes, when we push away our emotions, we end up bottling them up, and then they're just stuck within. And I've been there. I've been there a few times in my life, so I know what this feels like. We're gonna put that oracle card aside until the end and look at the cards. But basically, when you don't feel your emotions, um, they just come back to bite you because they're unprocessed and they're left there. And we can leave unprocessed emotions inside of ourselves for years and years and years without actually knowing it. That's kind of what happened to me. I finally allowed myself to go in and feel all of these difficult things from the past that I had never really looked at. And that was a really challenging work, but it was also incredibly liberating to finally do that, because I was able to release all of that stuff, you know? And so I'm not entirely sure what you're asking about here. It is a no, but I do feel this sort of sense of loss coming from this no. So if no is not an easy answer, um, I do want to let you know that that's okay too sometimes, that all things are a part of life, and difficulty is as much a part of life as joy is. And just because some difficult situations happen doesn't mean that those are the only situations that exist. Sometimes too, I think we can get lost in this sort of dark thoughts sometimes, where when difficult pain happens, we almost take that pain to be um, not an excuse, but like we take that to mean something that more than it does. And what I mean by that is, like, sometimes a difficult thing will happen, and we'll be like, aha, see, I told you everything's terrible because of this one thing. But, you know, that's not necessarily the case. That just because one thing isn't so great, doesn't mean that all things are then bad, or that, we no longer have the ability to experience joy because we've experienced pain. Personally, I think it's the complete opposite. I think that when we fully experience and acknowledge painful situations, we're able to enjoy those beautiful moments even more, because we have the awareness that they are fleeting, that they are limited. So let's take a look at the cards here, because I haven't even talked about any of these yet. We have the suspended person. Interesting. It's the hanged man in most decks. We've got Pan. Oh, wow. This is interesting. This is so funny. This deck is normally super connected with the normal tarot, but these are both two cards I've never pulled from this deck, and they're both not normal. So that's great. Pan is normally the devil, but but it's Pan, so I don't want to give it devil connotations. Well, okay. Final thoughts. Ace of Wands. Okay, that's funny. Pan and the devil are very different energies, so that's kind of funny to combine them. I mean, I guess that makes sense that they're both cloven hoofed, and probably some of our devil imagery came from Pan, but Pan is just so happy and go lucky. So maybe that's a part of it too, right? That goes right into exactly what we've been talking about, where it's sort of like, you know, the demonization of our own feelings, right? That your happiness is locked away behind this veneer of this like nihilistic veneer, where happiness itself, we can get really lost. And this is sort of this demonic quote unquote energy, which I don't necessarily, we don't have to call it that, but some of this challenging energy that we can get stuck in, that I do actually associate with some kind of devil symbolism. It's like when we get lost in the idea that, like I was talking about before, when we experience trauma and difficult, painful situations and events that are really terrible and awful, we can start to get stuck in this point of view where happy things, joyous things, feel like some kind of personal attack on us if we're not feeling great. Sometimes that can happen where it's like, you're having a really rough day and somebody comes by and smiles and says hello. And if you're in this really nasty mood, you can be like, yeah, well, hi, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like that kind of feeling. I'm almost feeling that from this, like that maybe you've gotten stuck in that kind of feeling sometimes, and I've been there, so I get it. It's almost like, you get so low that somebody else's joy becomes like terrible to you, because you're like, oh well, what did they do to get that? When everything's terrible and blah blah blah, or they're like naive, like, oh, you're just like some naive person where you don't understand life. I understand the challenges of life, and that makes me this great intelligent person, when you're just kind of just like sticking in the awful feeling and trying to use that as an identity. Which I'm not saying that that's what you're doing, but a lot of people do that sometimes, where you just like, you take suffering into being this like badge of honor, because you're in pain and you don't know how to process that pain, and so it's like the only response that you have, and so it's it's understandable to find that response, but almost like this Pan, who's this very open natured deity, who's very much this like joy of life kind of energy and exploration of wonder, and to have it be pushed into this demonic space where it's looked at as evil and terrible and awful, and so it's almost like I'm feeling this encouragement to try to pull those things back out of that, that. And the suspended person is the hanged man. So I do feel this sense of feeling really, really stuck, right? Feeling really, really in this stuck place, and you don't know how to move forward. And it's almost like you don't feel like there is a forward. Sometimes that's possible too, to be stuck in that kind of place. I've been there too, where it's like everything feels wrong and dead and unescapable gloom, right? Those dark places are real. I've been about as low as you can go, so I know what it feels like to be down there. But you don't have to stay down there, that's the big thing. And I think that's the biggest way. We have the Ace of Wands here too, which is great to see. It's sort of like a new beginning where you're feeling inspired again, where maybe you felt dead inside for a while, and you have inspiration possible for you, but it's going to come from learning how to change a perspective. Like there is a perspective shift that needs to happen here, but maybe this is in the long run bringing you some greater insights. Sometimes, like I said, we have to go to those low places in order to understand life at a deeper level, to understand how to see things that are really beautiful and really cherish those beautiful things by knowing just how fleeting they are. And so sometimes the Hanged Man can talk about having these greater insights come forward from being suspended. So let's take a look at the rest of your cards here. We have a couple cards from the Wild Unknown Tarot. This is an interesting reading so far. I hope that it's been resonating with you. We've got the Eight of Cups. Yeah, interesting. The Daughter of Swords, which is the Page of Swords in most decks. Oh, the Nine of Pentacles. That's nice. And okay, yep, of course it's here. That makes total sense. The Five of Cups. Yeah. So the Five of Cups is the grief card in the tarot. And I felt that energy pretty much immediately from your pile. There is this energy of grief here. And it goes along with everything that we've already been talking about. So it makes sense that it's showing up here. But it's that perspective shift that's required of you that I was talking about. That's highlighted in this Five of Cups. So in most decks, the Five of Cups is depicted as a man who is crying over three cups that have spilt below him. And it talks about loss, like that those cups spilling over is real. There's no sugarcoating the fact that the loss has happened. That there is this pain, that it's very true, that it's real suffering. But behind him are two cups that are still upright. And those two cups, they symbolize the idea that just because some things have been lost, it doesn't mean that all is lost in life, that there are still things remaining in his life. And so now, once he begins to process those feelings, like I was saying at the beginning, really feeling that grief, allowing himself to feel everything he needs to go into it as far as he needs to. Eventually, when he's ready, he can look behind him and see those two cups that are still remaining upright. And he can start to change his perspective and see, like, oh, well, I still do have something. And now I can learn how to cherish these things that I have remaining even more because they mean something more. Whereas before he might not have even been looking at those two cups because he had all five cups, and he was juggling all these cups and he didn't really know that these two were as important as they are. With the rest gone, he can start to really focus on them and say, no, these things are deeply important to me, and I know that these things are important to me. And so there's almost this level of gratitude practice that could help you in your situation as well. It can seem a little cliche to say, well, just feel gratitude, and so I understand that especially when you're in a deep depression space, and I do feel some depression energy from this reading. If you're in those deep dark spaces, it can feel a little hollow to hear somebody say, well, just feel grateful, and you just don't really feel grateful for anything. But it actually helps. It's a practice in the moment to help you transmute some of that depression energy, because you cannot feel depressed and grateful at the same time. And so one thing you can do, and there's some really great gratitude meditations on YouTube if you just search for those. I think there's one group called the Mindful Moment or something, the Mindful Movement, which is a really wonderful resource. When I was incredibly depressed, I found the Mindful Movement and used their videos to help me. And some of those gratitude meditations were really helpful because what it does is it shows you that there are things in your life to be grateful for, right? It's like, I am grateful for the air that I breathe that allows me to stay alive. I am grateful for the food that I am able to eat, that I am able to sustain my body from eating food, that I have access to it. I am grateful for the roof over my head, if you have one, that there is a place for me to sleep tonight. I am so grateful, right? Even just those basic things, by learning how to look at just the basic things in life that you have, that you absolutely have. I am grateful that I am clothed. I have warmth on my body, and I'm able to have this, right? It 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 transforms how you look at life, because you start to see that not all is lost, that you do have certain things, that there are things available to you to be grateful for that exist in life. And with this Eight of Cups here, it's like you are being asked to move into a new direction. And, having the Page of Swords, it can talk about a new perspective. Yeah, exactly. Um, the swords are all about the mind and thoughts. So there really is a new perspective that is required of you to move forward. And you can take your time with it, right? New perspectives, changing the entire way that you view life and you view the world, especially when you're really low and you're in a depressive place. That's a hard thing to do. So give yourself time and space to really work on that kind of thing. It's okay to need to take the time to do that. Um, and really do take the time, and that's okay. With the Eight of Cups here, it's like I do feel that there's a moving on to a new cycle, moving on to a new pathway here. And with the Nine of Pentacles, it is saying that you have the ability to move into this like beautiful, wonderful, life cherishing, abundant place, that is available to you. The thing about the Nine of Pentacles, though, is it's normally a woman who's depicted alone in her own private garden, basking over the finer things in life. And so it can talk about going it alone for a while. That maybe your happiness and your abundance comes from you going along on your own pathway, moving along onto your own way of moving. That's a new path that's yours and yours alone, not having anyone else dictate your own life for yourself. And so maybe there's a little bit of that energy coming into this reading as well, of maybe it's time to walk away from certain people, certain things, certain relationships that are really not helping you. And maybe there's something better and brighter out there for you, that might take you moving into something new. So your final card for this reading comes from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it is the Death card. Yeah, I do feel that. I feel that very, very deeply for you. And so, normally death doesn't, in tarot and this kind of symbolism, doesn't just mean it doesn't mean actual death, it means change. But there is a certain level of grief. So for some of you, if you are experiencing a death, um, I want to give you my condolences, and I want you to know that, um, that's not an easy thing. But if you're not, regardless of whether you are or not, and you are experiencing some sort of grief, some sort of loss, some sort of difficult situation emotionally, I do feel as though there is a pathway to a new beginning, because the Death card talks about endings, but it also talks about new beginnings. It talks about starting something new. It talks about the birth of a new being. And I feel that for you. Like maybe this is the very end of this way of this depressive cycle, this loss, this hurt. And there's an opportunity for you to start to look at life from a new perspective from this, that maybe there are some lessons that are available to you from this, that can help bring you into a new perspective, that can help bring you into a new way of experiencing life, that can help bring you into a new way of being present in this world. Yeah, so anyway, pile number 4, I'm going to leave you there. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that this reading resonated. Please let me know in the comments what you think of it either way. I love hearing from everybody. If you would like a private reading from me, they are available on the website. You can find that at www.junodrome.com. And if you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help. Every subscription it's so helpful for me. So yeah, please do. And I hope that you have a wonderful day, pile number 4. I will see you later, and thanks for tuning in. Bye. Hi there, pile number 5. Welcome to your reading. So this is going to be the reading for what is the answer to your yes or no question. So we've got 3 different methods for generating a yes or a no. We've got the die, the coin, and the pendulum. So we're either going to get a triple yes, a triple no, or a maybe leaning in either direction. And then we can kind of once we get those, we'll look at the cards to get a better explanation on what's going on and give you a more in-depth reading. So I'm going to come in close here, and we're going to do the pendulum first. So we'll ask the pendulum a few questions that we already know the answer to, just to gauge whether it's working. Is there a basil plant in front of me that I'm looking at? Yes, there is. Basil is so hard to keep alive. Ugh. But it's still going. What else is going on? Oh, is there a half-finished painting in front of me? Yes, but I'm continuing to work on it slowly but surely. Am I wearing shoes? No, I'm not. And it changed. It took a while to change, but it did change. Are there sirens going outside right now? Yes, there are. Hopefully, they're giving you answers. Pile number 5. Final question. What is the answer to pile number 5's question? Okay, I'm getting a yes. I'm getting a yes. Pendulum is saying yes. Okay, let's see the die. We got a 6, so the die says yes. 2 yeses so far. That's cool. And the coin is on a tails. So this is a maybe leaning yes. There are no definitive answers for this particular reading, but for whatever reason, we know it's a maybe. So the probable outcome at this point is a yes, but we don't have the full answer. So let's go in a little bit deeper and get an understanding why. So you chose the pile with this rose. And we've got roses and we got raindrops. And the quote says, "It will never rain roses. When we want to have more roses, we must plant more roses." George Eliot. Yeah, so you know what? That's a great, I love that, a great attitude. So maybe that's the thing too. Maybe the answer is maybe leaning yes, because if you want a yes, you got to go out and do it, right? Like you have all ability and capability to make something happen. You can make that yes if you want a yes. If you want a yes, you can go out and you can get a yes, no problem. But you have to be the one to put in the work to make it happen. It's not going to just happen naturally. You have to go out there and make it happen. I feel that kind of energy for you, pile number 5. So whatever you're asking about, you can get that yes if you want that yes, but it might take some work and it might take effort to really make it happen. We'll look at the oracle card in a minute. We'll do the tarot first. You got a couple cards first from the herbal tarot. We've got the lovers. That's fun. The 6 of swords. And the 2 of cups. Holy moly. Oh my gosh. Okay. Not everybody's asking about a relationship, but I think a lot of you are. Interesting. Because not only do you have the lovers, but you have the 2 of cups, and they're both very similar cards. Both cards can talk about going within, though, and having a better connection with your own self and your own being. So there's definitely, if you're not asking about a relationship or any kind of interconnected situation, there is a talk in this reading about connecting into your own personal sense of self and self-love and connection to your own being. But I think for a lot of people, though, you may be asking about a relationship. And with the 6 of swords here, you know, it's that talks about leaving a difficult situation and going into something new, leaving the past behind to journey forth into something different, traveling, moving away, moving towards something different. And with the lovers and the 2 of cups together like that, it's almost like leaving a relationship for some of you, or leaving behind past challenging situations, you know. if you are asking about something, with that, what we've gotten so far of that sort of like, you have to go out and make it happen kind of an attitude, um, you know, talking about relationship dynamics, if it is about that, then there's a certain level of not letting past situations determine future situations, that just because you've been through some difficult things in your past with certain people and certain situations doesn't mean that you have to allow that to dictate your future. And if you're not talking about a relationship, that can apply as well to that sort of idea uh, of going within and really connecting into yourself, right? That like, just because you've been through these difficult and challenging situations in your past doesn't mean that you can't have a new beginning and a new perspective and a change in the way that you live and that you do things, that you have the ability to connect into that for yourself. And there really is this strong partnership energy coming in, with this. Just to have both of those in this reading is crazy. Um, and, it's what's really being emphasized is that Six of Swords energy, right? This tumult from the past and moving out of it. So it's like, maybe you're being encouraged to move out of the drama of other people, as you move forward, especially if you weren't asking about a relationship, but you're just asking about, can I do this? Is this possible for me? With that maybe leaning yes and you having to make that into your reality, it's sort of like, don't let the words of other people stop you from following the things you want to do. I feel that for you as well, where it's like, just because other people don't see this as a possibility for you doesn't mean that it's not. It's just that's somebody else's opinion, right? You don't need to be lost in how other people see you and what other people are thinking, right? You can just continue along your own way in your own path, right? You don't have to you don't have to let somebody else's opinion of you be you, right? You are your own being and you are doing your own thing. You don't have to allow somebody else's stuff to get in the way of you following your dreams. So next up we have 4 cards from the Wild Unknown, and we've got the Five of Pentacles. We've got the Five of Wands. Wow, interesting. We've got the 10 of Wands. Okay. And we've got the 9 of Wands. Oh, right. Interesting. 9, 10 there. That's kind of cool. Yeah, there's definitely some challenging energy from this reading. I feel that for sure. With the 5 of Pentacles there, that can talk about this sort of dark night of the soul period that we can go through, where we're really in the depths and the trenches of these difficult, lost feeling situations. So you might be feeling challenged, like you've been through these challenging situations in the past. And like I was saying with that Six of Swords, it's like, you're being encouraged to not let that dictate your future, sort of, that just because you've been through difficult things doesn't mean that you can't move into a new situation that's completely different. It's a matter of perspective and allowing yourself to open up to the ability to be in something else, and with this 9 of Wands, that talks about like a battle hardened soldier kind of attitude, where you've been through the trenches in life, and a lot of times, like I was saying, that can get really tied up in our entire perspective on all things, right? Like if we've been through these challenging situations, we use those as a lens to look at life and to look at our future even. And so we end up limiting ourselves and our possibilities and our choices based on the difficult things that have happened, because we start to say like, oh, well, that's not even possible because this, and this, we stop believing in the possibilities of certain things. And I feel like maybe that's a part of what's been going on with you, and with this 5 of Wands, that can talk about this like struggle with others and with ourselves, to the point where, fighting with others and fighting with the self, to the point where you're stuck, you can't move forward because you're in this locked up energy. And, I feel like there is a bit of that in this, and just to bring back in that, maybe leaning yes attitude that started off this reading, the idea here is that just because you've been through situations and difficult things and you're in something maybe right now that makes you feel stuck, just because you're in that, that doesn't mean that that's the end all be all in life, that you can move yourself out of these situations if you so choose. It might take prioritizing certain things though, because the final card here is the 10 of Wands, which can talk about being overburdened, taking on too many things. So maybe there's some things in your life that you can put down, maybe a part of where you're feeling stuck and you're feeling, caught in the moment is this sense that you're trying to do too much, or you're trying to please too many people, or you have too many things going on where you feel like you have to do this and you have to do that, and you're all caught up in that stuck energy. And in order to really finally get out of that, it's going to take you um, allowing yourself to prioritize your own being. I feel that too. There's this like feeling of something connected with others, in this relationship dynamics situation where it's like maybe you're afraid to follow your dreams because it's going to take you either walking away from somebody or just prioritizing yourself when you've been prioritizing everyone else. But I feel like with that 10 of Wands, it's sort of saying like, if you want to go for something, you can. If you want to make something happen in life, you can do it. But it's going to take you really prioritizing that thing, So maybe you will have to put some things aside. Maybe you will have to make some sacrifices in life in order to make something happen. But ultimately, that sacrifice may deeply be worth it because it's going to bring you to the places that you're looking to go. So be open to the possibilities, be open to the idea of sacrificing certain things if there's a certain outcome you really want to make happen. But in order to really get there, right, that first message that came in is the biggest message here. In order to really make this thing happen, you have to put in that work. You have to prioritize that thing. You have to let that be, the thing that's driving you and moving you forward. And if you do that, you can get there, with that maybe leaning yes, you absolutely can. It's just a matter of you making that your priority. So the final card that we have here is from the Shamanic Healing Oracle, and it's letting go. Yeah. Oh, wow. Talking about that sacrifice energy, letting go of certain things, and this could be, what you need to sacrifice may be an attitude, right? It might be a belief system. It might be the way that you've perceived yourself in the past. And letting go can talk about that. It's like letting go of all of these things that have been holding us back, letting go of all of these things that are keeping us bound in the way that we think of ourselves and the world, and, feeling really stuck in one line of thinking, in one ability to perceive things, and really allowing yourself to open up to that open perspective again, opening yourself up to the possibility of walking away from certain things, with that Six of Swords, allowing yourself to move on from difficult situations, allowing yourself to move on from the past that isn't working anymore, and letting go of all the things that are no longer serving you, and having the strength and the courage to do that. Sometimes that's a really tough decision to make, especially if, we're afraid that it's going to hurt other people. That can be a really hard choice to make. But I do feel like ultimately making those choices will be worth it for you. There's that idea that, by making those sacrifices, you're prioritizing your own dreams and your own happiness, and that it's okay to do that, that you can make anything happen if you choose to. It's just being open to allowing that to come in, and allowing yourself to walk in new directions and to think about things in a new way. So anyway, pile number 5, I'm going to leave you there. Thanks so much for tuning in to this reading. I think it was pretty fun. Let me know what you think either way. I love hearing from everybody in the comments. And if you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. It really does help me out. So I'd love to have you as a subscriber. If you would like a private reading with me, they are available on the website. You can find that at www.junodrome.com. And yeah, that's it for me. I hope that you have a wonderful day. Pile number 5, and I will see you later. Bye.